Denny, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. We are now joined by our race winner, Denny Hamlin. Denny, can you just walk us through, it was, the win that you've been chasing all season, get it at the playoff opener, and then just to kind of top that all off, it's at a place that you really enjoy. So can you just walk us through that?
Well, I mean, this is a major for our sport. The Southern 500's obviously got a lot of history. It means a lot. And now to win, on top of that, you add, the first race of the playoffs. We get to go to the next round, first win of the year. It's certainly a very significant win in my career.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into questions for Denny. As we can see, we are also joined by the race winning crew chief, Chris Gabehart. So if you have a question for either of the gentlemen, please raise your hand, and let's kick things off with Jim Utter. Go ahead, Jim.
Congratulations, Denny. During the regular season, you had maintained all year that you guys were capable of getting to victory lane, but how frustrating was it not to be able to actually do it? And then how much of a relief was it to put it together at a critical time?
Yeah, I mean, we had so many opportunities earlier this year to win races, and we only really had the fastest car twice, and we understood that. But the five just went on a tear there, and for us, I mean, it certainly is significant. I'm not going to downplay the significance of it. It's not just another win. This one's big for us and our team and the momentum. We didn't have the playoff points that certainly we wish we had. Going into these playoffs, there was no room for error, and now to punch our ticket to the next round, we get to go out there and focus on getting through that second round, which I think is probably the most dangerous.
And considering the next couple races, including Richmond next week, for you, does it kind of turn your playoff perspective on its head a little bit as your approach now?
I don't think it will change a whole lot for us. I mean, certainly from my standpoint, I think this allows me to really focus on getting ready for the Roval. That's the one road course where, I just haven't had good finishes. I think my car's been tore all to pieces there just about every time I've run there. So to me, it's going to let me focus on the Roval, get more reps on it, and get better at it because, obviously that's a very important one in that next round.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, and it looks like we are also joined here by Coach Joe Gibbs. So if you do have a question for Coach as well, please raise your hand, and we'll continue on with questions. Bruce Martin, go ahead.
Denny, conceivably, the next couple of races coming up, you could probably win the next two and sweep the first round. So, how important is that to be able to have so many strong tracks to kick off this part of the chase or the playoffs? I'm sorry.
It's good. I mean, when we look at this round, we knew that this is our wheelhouse of tracks. These are the ones that we're going to perform really good at statistically. I mean, yesterday's results, there's no guarantee today, but I knew that, I feel like I've got somewhat of a small advantage on the field at tracks like this where I've learned so much at this track over time. And honestly, I wanted to rack up more stage points. Now this is going to help us going into the next round. We've got 6 more points than what we had before, so this is certainly a big help for that. And we want to go to Richmond, win every stage, and win that race too. That we're not going to take these next 2 weeks off. We want to keep this momentum going. That way, when we get to that treacherous round 2, we're ready and we're in playoff form.
And what did you think when you saw the 5 car, your rearview mirror, make that move at the end?
Well, I was, this racetrack is very unique in the sense that you can go faster. You just got to get closer and closer to the wall. And my job the last run was just hold him at a 5-6 car length bay. That's all I wanted to do. Is I didn't need to go any further out than that. I didn't want to put my car at risk any more than I had to. So I just kind of maintained that 5 to 6 car lengths. Coming to the white. Coming to the white, he got a great run off of 4. I didn't get that good of a run. He closed to 4 car lengths. And I'm like, still manageable. As long as I don't mess up, this thing is all still manageable. I should be fine. And then they said he got all the way to me, and I felt him bump me getting into turn 3. I'm like, where'd he come from? He must have did something crazy to drive in that deep. But it was cool that we were able to hold him off. But I'm sure it was very exciting from everyone else's standpoint. He said he had run out of options. He wanted to try it, and it nearly worked.
And for Coach Gibbs, was that almost like seeing a Hail Mary pass get caught at the 2-yard line?
Well, I had an experience there. I was trying to hold my breath for 26 laps. I'll put it that way. Tonight, that was hard fought. And I think Darlington kind of produces that. But you had so many people have so many problems and issues. And a lot of them are the cars that are in the chase. So I think it says a lot about the racetrack. We appreciate the fans being here. And for us, Denny fought his heart out. Chris did a great job for him. We got OfferPad, which is a newer sponsor there for us. And we got FedEx. So all of those things are just super important for us. And couldn't be happier tonight to get through that. And we're excited kind of about where we are. Lord bless us with a great night.
All right, congratulations, both of you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Zach Sterniolo. Go ahead, Zach.
This is for Coach. Coach, we saw Kyle obviously have his issues earlier tonight. Were you able to have a conversation with him, and how do you approach these next 2 weeks with Kyle currently sitting outside the cut line?
Yeah, well, I think everybody in this sport, he's been through the playoffs a number of times. We have, and it's extremely tough. You got 3 races. It's like a little playoff. The thing that probably helped us some, it seemed like a lot of cars that were in the chase had issues. And so I haven't seen where the points are or anything, but this is going to be a hard fought deal for the next 2 weeks. I think that's probably what the fans like. And but there's going to be a lot on the line. And as I mentioned, this race was really tough tonight. It was physical. A lot of cars got tore up. And I think we were just thrilled to get Denny, and Martin had a decent night. I really felt like Christopher, with Sport Clips, who's always been a great sponsor for us here. He got messed up some too. So 2 of our cars had issues.
And then for Denny, I think we talked about it earlier this week that there was going to be this was shaping up to be a situation where your best was yet to come. Do you feel like you guys are starting to show that now? And what can this win do for these next 9 weeks for you guys?
I certainly hope so. I mean, we've been just a second, third place car most of the year. I mean, which is a lot. There'd be about 33 teams that would love to have that, but we've been very, very close. And obviously the 5 has been kind of stand out from the field. And we just kind of been the next best, and then on average. And so, you needed a race like this where, my crew chief was telling me, when we pulled away from third place there on the third to last run, green flag run, he says, okay, we're back in the ball game. I need you to just keep us in the game here. Keep us in the game. Keep optimizing your lap time. I knew what my job was. I knew before he said, he didn't have to tell me where our strategy was. I knew what it was going to be based off of the lap times that I saw in the long run. And, I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but certainly I knew what my job was. And when we got that caution there, we didn't have the greatest pit stop. I kind of chugged it a little bit out of the pit stall, and the 19 got around us. And I'm like, gosh, we just had an opportunity to take control of the race, and we didn't do it. And then the 19 had a penalty. So I knew from that point, he was going to have to wrestle me for the race win. I was not going to let him go. And it was probably going to get physical like it was in the last lap if it happened any sooner.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to take our next question here for our race winning crew chief, Chris Gabehart. This a track within the first round that you kind of had circled, with Denny's past experiences and the 2 of you together. And then how do you kind of approach the next couple races in this round? Do you focus on the next round since you're locked in, or how do you approach the next couple races?
Yeah, well, certainly when you look at, Denny's history here and the 750 tracks and, Darlington, Richmond, Bristol, it's a dream round, really. I mean, and there's a certain amount of pressure that comes with that because, these are all extremely talented race car drivers. And, they've honestly had Denny's data to study for a lot of years now at these tracks. So it's hard to keep reinventing yourself. But, his again, what I say about Denny at tracks like this is his risk assessment is just really, really high for a really long time. And he showed it again tonight. It wasn't a perfect night, but it's hard to be perfect in Southern 500, and it was good enough. To your point about the next two races, I feel a whole lot better about going to the Daytona Next Gen test the next 2 days. I can tell you that for starters. So Denny and I are going to go celebrate this win for 2 days in Daytona. But no, golly, we were so good at Richmond the last time we were there, and just let that win slip away. So, and then at the Bristol night race, it's probably my favorite race, tied with this race. It's coming up after. So to go into those two races as the only team pressure free is just going to make us that much more dangerous, those two races, and we're not going to let off the gas because of it. You can believe that.
Awesome. We're going to take our next one from Pete Acabelli. Go ahead, Pete. Pete, we're having some trouble hearing you, I think. Danny, were you able to hear him?
No.
We can come back to you, Pete, see if we can get that situated. We'll take our next one from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
I have a couple questions. First for Chris. It was quite clear last year at Phoenix that you guys didn't have the speed at that place, and I'm just curious about the effort to improve the speed on the 750 tracks and what, even though this is a different track, what tonight means in terms of having that speed, especially with you and the 19.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of effort put forth. I think the amazing thing about our sport is it's so many little things. You can't just point to one spot where you put forth the effort and say that's the difference. But certainly it's been there. I mean, we've been really, really fast this year on 750s. I would argue, if not the fastest car, really, really close to it on average. And while this certainly doesn't translate to Phoenix, I look at Loudon and we were really strong there and had an unfortunate last yellow flag stop that kind of took us out of the game with the lug nut thing. And then Richmond, we were really pretty dominant at Richmond last time, the strongest we've been at Richmond in a really long time. So I think we're definitely clicking on all eight, but Phoenix is so far in the distance. I don't really even focus on that. I am looking forward to going to Richmond and Bristol pressure free. I'm not going to lie about that. Those are going to be two races that I'm really going to enjoy. Denny knows how much Bristol means to me. So I'm looking forward to it. We finally got a feel for Vegas. I feel like we got a good baseline for Vegas, and that'll be the first race of the next round. So I'm full throttle, man. Looking forward to it.
Denny, obviously it's not the first time you beat Kyle Larson, even this season, but it's the first time to beat him for a win, to be able to beat him for a win, to beat that team for a win, even with all the things that you guys have done this season. What does it mean to just beat that 5 car?
It means a lot. I mean, certainly you don't like to, just, being the next best every single week. And, you got to give credit to them. Like, they performed the last 12 races of the regular season like we did the first 12, only they got the wins. They finished it off and got the wins when they were dominant. And so you got to give them their due. Kyle's obviously a tremendous talent, and certainly I'll take pride in it. We're very close friends off the racetrack, and we talk a lot, and it's great to be able to battle one of your good friends.
Did you expect something like that at the end from him?
I figured there was something coming. I thought that he was actually going to dive bomb low because I'd started backing up my entry at turn 3 to make sure I kept it off the wall. As I kind of was maintaining that gap to him, I just kept creeping down a little bit to make sure I gave myself a little bit more room. And with that, you're giving up lap time. So I thought that the bold move was going to come from the bottom. But yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't think he was going to get to my rear bumper as far back as he was, but he had an interesting strategy. It nearly worked out.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know. I think my internet connection was unstable for a second. I'm sorry. Dustin, did you finish asking your questions?
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. We're going to take our next one, Pete. Let's see if your audio is working.
Hello, can you hear me?
No.
So listen, hey, he's in the room next to me. I can hear him. So
Okay, then Pete, yell a little loud and Denny can hear you.
Denny, unfortunately, parts of your personal life became public. How did you tune out that wasn't
I'm a professional and do my job the best I can. And today I thought we did as good as we could. We executed. We had finally the anvil didn't drop right on us like it did yesterday. So I was proud of the effort that we put forth, and my team's always giving the best effort, and I know my job every Sunday.
All right, we're going to take our next one from Alex Andreja. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey there, this is a question for Chris, but did you feel like you beat the 5 team more on strategy tonight or speed?
Man, that's tough. I think it's honestly a little bit hard to say. Certainly the first 2 stages, it was clear we didn't have the speed to just dominate. I mean, we kept them close, and there was a point there where I even told Denny on the radio, I'm like, okay, we're in a ball game here. You can see him. We're running second. We fixed a few things about what he was doing in the car to pick up some lap time. At that point, I told him, don't forget, this is Darlington. Just keep us in the game. We're close. We're where we need to be. And then in that 3rd stage, I think when strategy went haywire and we kind of split, I honestly think it turned the focus from who had the better car to this crazy strategy and how it was going to play out, and sort of camouflaged strengths and weaknesses of the 2 cars and how they had progressed over the last 100 laps. And clearly when it come time for a run there at the end, we were good enough. I mean, then he just told you he had a little in the tank, but Darlington will reach out and bite you if you get too greedy. So, had the 5 been in front of us, I'm not saying we could have passed him, but clearly the 5 we were in front of the 5 and he couldn't pass us. So I think in the end we were definitely close on both.
And then going forward, if you're assuming you're going to keep battling with this 5 team, do you feel like speed is sort of where it needs to be to compete with them every week at this point?
Well, it's racing, so definitely speed is always. I'm not going to say a cure-all, but it's a very important ingredient. But this is NASCAR racing, and here's the truth. Denny and I have been here the last 2 years. We've experienced the fact that it's not enough just to be fast. You have to execute clean each and every lap of the next 9 races. And you've seen a lot of teams that weren't able to do that today at Darlington. And there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that. And Denny and I have certainly become familiar with that together over the last couple of seasons. I think we've learned a lot from it, and looking forward to carrying on.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take our next one from Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
Also, for Chris, what do you make of all the attrition that was out there tonight with all the playoff cars? It just seemed like for a playoff opener, there was a pretty high degree of people making mistakes and things like that.
No, there wasn't. It's the Southern 500 at Darlington. These guys, they're the best stock car drivers in the world. So they make it look easy. No different than Tom Brady makes, winning the Super Bowl look easy. But it's not easy, guys. And Darlington at Southern 500 will remind you of that. So NASCAR racing was born on endurance racing, and in a lot of ways it's sort of ran its course. There's not a lot of 500-mile races that are a thriller anymore, but Darlington is the true quintessential NASCAR race. And that, the endurance really is the test, man and machine for 500 miles. And you saw that tonight. I mean, there were only a few guys left standing at the end with a shot to win. And that's just a tribute to this racetrack and this race.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. And Coach, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for taking some time with us. We wish you the best of luck and
Thank y'all.
congratulate you on the win.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
You ain't
Thank you.
going too far. Wait on me, bud. You're about
Hey,
right.
that's exactly right. And I wanted to mention Bass Pro and Johnny and auto owners on that car, the 19, finishing fourth, and we were proud of them. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Denny and Chris, we have a couple more here for you. So we're going to take our next one from Bob Pockerson.
Yeah, this is for Denny. I know it's early in the playoffs, but do you see this coming down but to you and Larson come Phoenix?
Oh my gosh, there's just so much racing left. Who knows, right? I mean, we thought that 2020 when we won, 7 races, me and Harvick were locks, right? Harvick wasn't a lock, and it came down the last lap at Martinsville, and it was going to be him or me. And so I certainly think, if you look at the numbers, we've been the best 2 cars. I mean, we had a 4 or 5 race gap in points, over third place. That's a significant amount of points because we've been the best 2 teams on average each and every week. And, he took over kind of the lead reins, I thought, the last 12 races or so. And those guys deserve all the credit that they, and all the accolades and all the praise that they got. I mean, they just performed flawlessly and no mistakes, and they were fast and won stages, won races. And at one point, we're thinking, well, they're just going to win every week. So, and from their mindset, it's like, well, they got the speed, they got a great driver. It's like, they probably should win every week, but you just never know what can happen. That's why they race these races. So, I lean on my experience, and when I don't always have the very fastest car, we got a good crew chief and a good team to figure out how else can we win, because it ain't always about speed, but I certainly feel like we've closed the gap. I would love to race Larson in the last race, the same as I would have loved to race Harvick last year in the final race. But you just never know. This is the format, right? And you just never know because it's a 3-race season, and what you did for the first 30-something, when you get down to the end, just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to say Harvick won this race a year ago. So, is your greatest fear having something happen to you like happened to him?
It's not a fear of performance. I can tell you that. If we on performance, we're good enough, we should be in the Final 4. It's everything else. It's everything else that happens in the middle of a race that can take you out. The Xfinity race, right? That's a prime example, right? You're going to win, and there's a caution, and then a penalty. All the things can take you out. And, I give my crew chief a lot of credit. He had a great, group message with the team yesterday about, it's time to go now, and, this is what we work for. He's been a great leader of the team, and those guys understand their roles, and we all understand, if we want to win and we're going to beat the best, everyone's got to do their job flawlessly with no mistakes. And today we did that.
All right, we're going to take our next one from Chris tonight. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Denny, congratulations on the win tonight. I was just curious of what your expectations were for the next Gen Test at Daytona, and is there goals that you specifically want to accomplish?
For me, just kind of building a logbook of how that car drafts. Obviously the first time we're going to run it, I think, is going to be Daytona 500. I'm not sure. But, you know, it's going to be a car that drafts completely different. So I want to try to gather all the information I can on what it likes and what it doesn't like. Try to provide NASCAR and my team the information they need for the test. This will be the first time it's on a racetrack with that many cars. So, we're going to get a sample size of kind of what we're in for next year, and hopefully, it performs as good as we hope.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, Denny and Chris. Well, we're going to let you go so Coach doesn't leave you guys behind. Congratulations on the victory, and we wish you the best of luck in the upcoming races at Richmond and Bristol. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.